Hi, this is Steve. Welcome to my channel, Scale Model Kit Review. I'm back with another installment of the Build the Ghostbusters Ecto-1 by FanHome. I am on issue 19 or stage 19. I'll be working on stages 67 through 70. I apologize, this is a very long video, but I have a lot to show you. But if you want, you can go ahead and skip through the issues down below in the description. I have links down below there where you can click on each issue as needed. So if you haven't done so already, head over to FanHome and subscribe to this car today. It's a fantastic car, and I think you definitely want to have this in your collection. So with that, let's get started. Welcome back to issue 19, or pack 19 of Build the Ghostbusters Ecto-1. I'm finally here, getting close to the finish here. Got a ways to go a little bit, but now we're going to start assembling the main body panels. So let's look at the magazine here first, and I want to show you everything that came in this box. This box was huge. The largest box yet that I've received for part work parts, and definitely tells me all the body panels are in this. So let's look at the magazine first. Of course, we'll be building stage 67 through 70. And first thing we do are the roof light LEDs. So we have more LEDs to check out. And then the body front frame. Headlights, LEDs, body frame parts, and kick frame, door catch, and rear frame. Wow. Magic Mike. So we have the lead sculptor. Fantastic there. Spook Central, very cool there. Art director John DeClure Jr. I probably butchered that name. I apologize for that. Bernie Wrightson, concept art. Mike Coate. Wow, this is just packed full of great articles here. Then Ecto 101. The phone number. And of course, issue 20 shows us what else we're going to be receiving here in the future. So let me grab everything that came inside that very large box, and we'll look at that first before we actually get into what's inside of those boxes and open up and inspect everything. I'll be right back. And here's pack 67. Pack 68. And this is so large, I had to really zoom the camera back a lot and pull the camera away. But this is stage 69. Look how huge this box is. Very nice. And stage 70. Not as big, but big enough there. Let's look at the build instructions for stage 67. 67 receive LED lights, and they're the roof lights, and they're going to be mounted on the rear end of the car over there. So here's all the wires and the lights. And like it said, the roof light LEDs. And I'll leave this on the screen for a little bit. You can pause it if you like. First part here, we're fitting the propeller array wires. Fitting the strobe light wires. Installing the deck lights. fitting the Code 3 Force 4 XL wires. And that's what it should look like. I'll get the parts, I'll be right back. Here's the parts for 67. I'll take these out and we'll get a closer look. And I'm going to give you a close-up of these LED wires a section at a time. These are the Code 3 Force 4 XL LEDs, and you can see they're all attached to a circuit board here, and there is a switch, on and off switch, associated with these. Wire number N is what that is identified as. The other one is the same thing. Same thing, wire number N. Let's look at the next set of wires. And this is wire number M. And this would be the rear deck light LED. Wire number L. And this would be the front deck LED lights. And this is wire number N. And this is also the Code 3 Force 4 XL, but this is the extension wire. Wire number J, this is the Federal 19 propeller ray LED, and you can see that it's a red LED there. Wire number K, this is the Whelen HRDF-200 strobe LED. Next I'll work on the propeller ray wires, and we have to get the wire that we received in the last pack, and that is the J wire. It's the gray and red wire here, and that's going to plug in to the matching J wire coming off the side of the car here. That's also red and gray, and we'll plug that in. That's good there. This wire did come off of stage 65, in case you're looking for it. Next we'll get the wire we received in this stage, the J wire, and we're going to plug that into it. Colors don't match here, so don't worry about that. There we go. And that's all we do with this stage, and I'm sure we're going to test the lights out here in a little bit. Next I'm going to fit the strobe light wires, and that would be the K wire. So we're going to get our K wire from 65, and this is a gray and white wire, and the K wire on the car is gray and white also, and we're going to plug that into it. Then we're going to get our K wire from this issue, and it's a black and gray wire, and we're going to plug that into our extension wire, the K to K. There you go. So that completes the strobe wire fittings. Next I'm going to work on the deck lights, and I'm going to start on the front deck lights, working with wire number L coming off the car. It is a black and gray wire, and grab our wire from 65, stage 65, the L wire, black and gray also, and plug that in. It's got a small terminal. Snaps right in, L to L. And you'll note on the other end is a very large terminal. So we haven't seen one that size yet. Then we're going to grab our wire bundle from this issue, L wire also. And it's a large terminal that's on that. We actually have two LEDs coming off of this. And plug that in. Perfect. So L to L is right there. And there's our wires. Now I'll work on the rear deck wires. And we're going to grab our wire extension from 65, the M wire. It's a gray and black. And we'll find the M wire coming off the side of the car, which is also gray and black. And we'll plug that in. This is very similar to the last one we did. And that locked in there. Then we'll grab the wire bundle from this stage, the M wire also. It also has two LEDs, just like the front one. This is the back deck light. And we'll plug that in. Once again, it's a large terminal. And I don't know why I had so much difficulty doing this. But there we go. And that snaps in, just like that. M wire to M wire. That completes our deck wires. Go ahead and do an operational check of our LEDs we just plugged in. Make sure we turn on our main power switch located on the aft left wheel well area. And we're going to push in the button on the left radio switch. There we go. So everything looks like it works fine there. The last set of wires I'm going to assemble is the Code 3 Force 4 XL wires. So in order to do that, let's go ahead and plug in our first wire. And this was from stage 65, the N wire. It's red and white wire. We'll find the N wire on the side of the car, which is also red and white, and we'll plug in the small terminal to small terminal here. That looks good there. Then we're going to grab our N wire, which was identified as the jumper wire. Okay, and that's a large terminal here, and we'll plug that in. We already know how to do this type. Just like that. That's good there. And we have two sets of wires that look like this. They have a switch on them. And that's our N wire there once again. And we have several terminals on here. So I'm trying to identify what is what here. Gray and black. So I assume the gray and black get plugged into that where it says N. And that just, this one goes to our switch that will control these lights. So we'll plug that in, the gray and black to gray and black on our jumper. There we go. And just to verify this works, I'll turn my power back on. And there we go. And the switch controls that. So that works. Now, coming off that jumper wire, we have another lead. And that's this right here. It's also gray and black, so we'll go to our other wire bundle, find our gray and black wire, the N wire, and we'll plug that in, just like we did before. Okay. And we'll check these lights out. Turn on the main power. And we'll flip the switch for this. There we go. And again. Perfect. And there you go. That completes stage 67. We hooked up a lot of wires on the back end of this car. I'm going to neaten them up a little bit just for storage for now, and we'll continue on with this build. So we'll head over and do stage 68 next.
Everything is alright, but I keep seeing ghosts in the daylight.
And stage 67 was a lot of fun. I always like working with electronics, so that was a blast. So let's look at the build instructions for stage 68. This stage we start working on the body front frame and associated parts. Here's the parts I received and a listing of those parts. Front body frame, and we'll start assembling some fittings on the left and right. The hood lock pin, the engine information plate, and where that gets mounted. Let me get the parts, I'll be right back. Here's a very large bag for stage 68. I'll take this out, we'll get a closer look. BM screws, BP screws, the engine identification plate and hood latch, and a couple of brackets for the main body. And here's the main body part, the front frame area, made of metal, of course, flat black construction there. Very nice. Now I did notice that it is bent, and these parts will get bent in shipment. It's a very minor bent, but if you see here, my surface is flat, but watch. So if you take and look at it, you can see it's crooked just a little bit, and I'm going to see if I can go ahead and straighten that out. Okay. And just a little twisting, being very careful I don't put too much force on it, and this time it looks good. If you look at it now, it looks pretty straight. The back looks a little bent back there, but I'm hoping that all comes together when we start putting panels on it. Let's get started. I'm going to insert a couple of brackets on each side of the front of the car here. And these brackets we're going to put on are marked left and right. So the left side will key in just like that. BM screw goes into this. And tighten this down. That's good there. And that's good. That's how that looks there. I'll go ahead and install the other side and I'll be right back. And the other side is installed. I did use 3-in-1 oil. Make sure when you drive this in, you drive it straight down and not at an angle, because remember, these are cutting the threads and you don't want to go in at an angle. It'll jam up on you. You could possibly break the screw. So definitely use 3-in-1 oil to help you along. Let's move to the next step. Here's a close-up of the next parts we're going to be installing, and you can see the engine identification plate. Very cool there. And the hood lock pin, along with the 3M tape to hold the engine ID plate on. Bring over the hood lock pin, and it only goes in one way from the top here. It does have a flat edge, and that's just to prevent it from turning. We put our screw in. BP screw goes into this. And that's what that looks like there. Next, I'm going to install the engine ID plate right here. Take and peel back the two-sided tape. Looks like the tape folded on me a bit. Bring over the front of the car. There we go. Take a Q-tip, push it down, and that should lock it in place. That's how that looks there. And that's all I do with stage 68. Let's head over to stage 69.
Everything is alright, but I keep seeing ghosts in the daylight.
Let's look at the build instructions for stage 69. We'll be working on the middle part of the body frame. That's what that looks like. Some wire covers. Headlight LEDs and body frame parts. So we're going to take our middle body frame, we're going to remove the transportation brackets that are on each end. We're going to install that part from 68 that we just assembled onto 69. Going to get our grill from way back when and install the fittings to the headlight. We're going to hide some wires here for the headlights behind the grill. That's what that should look like there. And that will complete this stage. Let me get the parts, I'll be right back. And this is huge. See, everything is inside this protected blister pack. Some parts here. And we'll take this cover off the blister pack. Here's a close-up of those parts, and I'll show you the smaller parts here in a second. Here's the middle frame part. Wow, this is huge. You can see as compared to my hand how big this is. There's our little transportation brackets. We'll remove those here in a second. Wow, very impressive. That's how that looks there. Turn it over. That's how that looks on the bottom side. Now, we'll go ahead and take these brackets off. 2 screws hold them down. We have a bracket on the back and on the front. There's one bracket off. These screws weren't cranked down, so they were actually loose. So there's the other bracket. Alright, let's turn this back over. Obviously we're going to have body panels going on the outside of this. So it appears to be fairly straight according to my bench, and that's good. And here's a close-up of the other parts that came in the blister pack with the body part. We have these very fine springs, and they're very hard to see inside the blister pack, so be careful with that. Hope you don't lose them. Well, we also received some clips here, and 3 of them, and I hope I'm not missing one. PP and LM screws. Just looked at the instructions, and I'm only supposed to have 3, so that's great. First thing we're going to do, we're going to install the front frame that we received earlier, and it's going to mount to the middle frame, and it's going to mount to 3 areas right here on the front. It's going to get inserted from underneath, just like that. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over. We're going to put screws in it from the other side, I believe. We're going to put in 3 LM screws, 1, 2, and 3. And the last one. That's good there. Make sure all 3 screws are tightened down as much as possible. Now we'll turn this over. Not all the way. We're going to put in 2 screws, one on this side and one on the other side. Same screw as before. And as tight as you can get it. Do the other side. And that's good there. There you go. All 5 screws are installed. 2 on the sides and 3 on the top here. They're all LM screws. I did use 3-in-1 oil to help it along. I also used my PH1 screwdriver, which is the largest screwdriver I have for this type of work. You can find that in my store. And I'll continue here with stage 69. The instructions want me to remove this front trim bracket with the lights that are on it. And in order to do that, we've got to take 3 screws out on the back side here. There's the 3 screws, and we'll take this bracket off. Very cool. And that's how that looks there. Now we need to retrieve the headlight LEDs off the chassis. We'll have to plug them off the PCB board. I'll be right back. So the first wire I need to remove from the PCB board is 66B, which is wire number P on the PCB board. I had to watch stage 66 to look at the parts and their description to identify that wire. And then for the left side, I got to remove the O wire, which is a shorter wire, 66A, for the left headlight. I removed wire bundle P from the PCB board, and this is going to be our right headlight LEDs. Go ahead and insert those into the right headlight bezel area. And they press fit just like that. And we'll put our grill trim piece back on the front. Next, they want us to route the wires along the back of the grill. I'm going to put the wire cover R on the right side here and secure that down with a very long PP screw. Do the same thing here in the middle. This is just temporary. This one right here is the one that will hold everything in place. I did this off camera, but you have to run your wires through this plastic cover. This is marked with an R right there, and you need to run your wire that we received with this stage through that screw. The screw is a very long screw. It's a PP screw, they call it. And that's the other side I'm going to be putting on here in a second, but that's what that looks like. Then we also have our other wire cover in the middle, and it's not marked. And then we have our third wire cover with an L, and that's going to go over here on this side. And I'll do that off camera, and I'll be right back. And there you go. Got it installed. Our wires are sticking up like they should. That's how that looks there. Look at the other side. And you can see some wiring there, but it's not real bad. And lastly, need to install the LEDs into the left headlight bezel, and need to grab the wire assembly 66A or O off the PCB board, and we'll insert those into the headlight bezel. And there they are, inserted. Now I'm going to go ahead and light block the back of these LEDs with my black Tulip Slick. It's a very thick acrylic paint. And that completes stage 69. Looks great. We've got everything wired up for the headlights. All the LEDs are installed. Now let's go ahead and get started on the final stage for Pack 19, stage 70.
Everything is alright, but I keep seeing ghosts in the daylight.
Let's look at the build instructions for stage 70, which is the final stage for issue 19. Stage 70, I received the rear part of the body frame. That's what that looks like there. And we're going to assemble the kick frame, door catch, and the rear frame itself. Take off the transportation bracket. Install the kick frame and door latch or catch. Then we're going to combine the frames. We're going to put the rear part of the frame onto the middle frame. Let me get the parts. I'll be right back. And once again, very large blister pack holding stage 70 here in place. Very nice. We have the extra parts over here on the side. I'll take this out. Let's get a closer look. HM screws, QP screws, and BM screws. We have the door catch, the door frame portion, chrome, made of plastic. That's what that looks like there. And the back part of the car, very nice there. Back end. And the other side. And underneath. We need to take this transportation bracket off. There's two screws that hold it in place. And turn this over. We're going to put the kick frame on. That's this right here, this chrome piece that we all talked about. And it is angled. It does have a slight angle taper on that side, so we need to figure out how that goes. And it looks like it goes just like that by what I can see. We'll put some screws on the bottom of it. There's 3 of them that go in. They are the QP screws. Just till it's tight. That looks good. Turn it over. And that's what that kick plate looks like. Next, put the latch in. And it looks like the latch is made of metal there. We'll line that up with the hole. BM screw goes into this. That's how that looks. Now let's mate this to the other part of the frames. Alright, bring over the front part of the car here and the new back end. And the way this works is you're going to want to take and go and slide it straight down from the top. You can see we have those right there. So we're going to line it up. On both sides. And we're going to slide it straight down. And do the other side. Good. That looks good there. And once it's down all the way, we're going to put 2 screws on each side, BM screws. And once it's lined up, we're going to put 2 screws on each side, and those are HM screws. We're going to make sure we lubricate them and take our time with it. And these screws go on the bottom one here and the bottom one there. HM screw, and I did oil them up. It's good there. And that's good there. Do the other side now. And there you go. Both screws are installed and secure. Go ahead and put the car on your lap. Maybe easier for you. Give you a little more torque to get these screws in all the way. Screw them in until they stop. And double check them. Check both sides. Make sure all your screws are in tight. And there you have it. That completes issue 19 or pack 19. I had a blast building this. We actually put in all the LEDs on the back chassis, and that's not shown here, but you saw it earlier in the video. But what I'm super excited about is we have the body shell assembled, the back, middle, and front. And we also put in the headlights onto the front grille. We haven't touched this front grille since the very beginning of the build, and I must say it looks fantastic. So if you haven't done so already, head over to FanHome and subscribe to this car today. It is the biggest part work car out there. You can start all the way from pack 1. If you like my content, please subscribe to my channel and smash that like button. Happy modeling, everybody, and take care.